Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Tonight's story begins in the corridors of a television studio where neon tape on the floor marks positions and the countdown clock blinks its unblinking truth. It is a story about two names you know by heart, Ebru Şahin and Akınözü, stepping into a new arena together, not as co-stars in a scripted romance, but as co-hosts commanding a live stage. What happened between the first rehearsal and the last bow explains why their partnership keeps pulling the audience closer: discipline before glamour, generosity before ego, and a quiet promise to lift each other up when the room is watching. The invitation reached them weeks earlier. A renowned network wanted Ebru Şahin and Akınözü to co-host a flagship entertainment special, a celebration of the season's standout performances and the teams who make them possible. It was a flattering ask, and a risky one. Hosting live television is a different muscle. You cannot call cut. You cannot lean on an editor to stitch your best moments together. You stand on timing, tone, and trust. Both said yes, not because it was safe, but because they recognized something rare in their shared rhythm, a way of listening that made the other person better. The first table read took place in a rehearsal hall that smelled faintly of sawdust and fresh paint. Cards with segments and transitions lined a corkboard. A teleprompter scrolled placeholder text. Ebru arrived with a script scribbled in pencil. Akın brought a notebook with questions for the writers. They traded tweaks. She trimmed lines that felt ornamental, he amplified lines that needed heartbeat. When a joke landed too clean, they sanded it down until it sounded like them. By the end of the day, they had not memorized a show. They had set a tone, warm without being soft, crisp without being cold. Technical rehearsal came next. The stage manager called cues in a steady cadence. Lighting designers tested palettes against the understated sheen of Ebru's gown and the tailored cut of Akın's jacket. Camera 2 found the over-shoulder framing that would carry their banter. Camera 4 practiced the glide that would reveal honorees in the front row. More than once, the teleprompter lagged, and in those half-seconds of silence, you saw the muscle that makes live work. Ebru ad-libbed with a single raised eyebrow. Akın picked up the handoff and made the pause look intentional. Those micro-rescues built a trust more convincing than any press release. When premiere night arrived, the lobby hummed with the low thunder of arrivals and glassware. Inside the theater, the audience dimmed to a hush just shy of reverence. The band played the opening sting. From the wing, you could see Ebru tap the base of the microphone once and close her eyes for a heartbeat. You could see Akın check the cue monitor, then look at her, not as a co-host to a co-host, but as a partner, ready. The lights rose. Their first exchange landed with the soft click of a seal. The show was underway. The first segment paid tribute to crews, camera operators, gaffers, costumers, editors. Ebru guided the audience through the anatomy of a scene, how a breath holds longer because a boom operator knows when not to breathe, how a costume scene tells the story of a character before the character speaks. Akın followed with a story about a focus puller who saved a shot nobody thought could be saved. The audience recognized the care behind the polish and rewarded it with the kind of applause that warms a room from the inside out. A live show is a map of small risks. Midway through, a prompter froze on a line that mattered. Ebru stepped forward, closed the distance with an honoree in the third row, and improvised a question that disguised the technical snag. Akın reformatted the next intro as a conversation, turned to the band with a nod, and replaced dead air with a 12-second vamp and a laugh that made even the producers exhale. The camera operator smiled, the director's voice over comms dropped an octave of relief. That is how you earn an audience's trust, not by perfection, but by composure. There were honors that night, too, some announced, some unexpected. A panel of veteran producers presented the pair with a special recognition for excellence in live presentation, framed not as a trophy for charm, but as a salute to stewardship. They had carried the room, prioritized substance, and kept the spotlight wide enough to include the names that usually roll past in small type. The applause that followed was the opposite of obligatory, it had weight. The moment felt less like coronation and more like confirmation. After the last curtain call, the theater spilled into the night, and the work shifted to a different kind of stage. Press rounds were set for dawn, and both Ebru and Akın were booked into the same hotel so that interviews could run with military efficiency. They reached the lobby with their teams, but without fanfare, no staged arrivals, no manufactured drama. A few guests recognized them and offered congratulations in the unself-conscious way of people who watched the show and felt seen by it. Ebru thanked the staff by name. Akın tipped the pianist for playing long past his scheduled set. Upstairs, a small suite served as base camp. Wardrobe hung on a rolling rack. A coffee table turned into a picnic of late-night fruit, rice crackers, and a box of chocolates someone had swiped from the green room. This is where the story turns from spectacle to testimony. One by one, department heads, hair, makeup, stage management, scripts, stopped in, not for credit, but for closure. They talked through the near misses that no one in the audience noticed. They replayed the risky cut to camera 2 that paid off. They laughed in the exhausted way people laugh when something hard has gone well and the adrenaline begins to ebb. At some point after midnight, the conversation shifted from show to gratitude. Ebru pulled out a stack of handwritten notes and began addressing envelopes to crew. Akın opened his laptop and drafted a thank you to interns whose names wouldn't make a press release but whose work had held the scenes together. They talked about the first mentors who told them the truth, not the flattery. They remembered the jobs that taught them to carry equipment because nobody else was free to carry it. In that suite, awards translated into something more durable, an ethos. Morning brought interviews, and interviews bring the temptation to reduce. Headlines want declarations. Publicists want guardrails. But thoughtful answers require space. Ebru handled the first volley, questions about pressure, dresses, future projects, with precision and ease. She answered what mattered and let the rest fall away. Akın took the questions aimed at conflict, who was difficult, who was late, and returned them untouched, praising the invisible labor that makes live television look effortless. They did not choreograph this strategy. It is simply who they have become when they work together. What did the night change? On paper, it added lines to a resume, a hosting credit, a special recognition, a list of favorable reviews. In practice, it refined what their names signal to audiences and collaborators alike. For fans, the pairing now means more than chemistry on screen, it means care under pressure. For producers, it signals reliability, two artists who protect the show, not just their shots. For younger performers, it offers a model that resists shortcuts, arrive prepared, distribute the credit, and keep the room humane. There was, as always, a line of speculation waiting outside the frame, rumors eager to rebrand professional ease as something else. The two kept the line where it belonged. They celebrated with their teams and went to sleep. The story they allowed to stand was the story on the stage. That restraint does not chill the legend, it fortifies it. It says, the work is the headline, and the headline is enough. The following afternoon, once the cameras were truly off, Ebru and Akın attended a quiet luncheon the network hosted for crew. No step and repeat. No microphones. Just long tables, shared stories, and the unglamorous details that humans remember. A props assistant described a last-minute fix with gaffer's tape. A dresser confessed to a panic that vanished when Ebru cracked a joke at exactly the right moment. A runner admitted he nearly cried after Akın learned his name and used it twice. These are not moments that become clips. They are moments that become culture. Before saying their goodbyes, they made one last decision that knit the night into the future. Together, they committed a portion of their hosting fee to a mentorship fund for backstage apprentices, editors, techs, hair and makeup assistants, young professionals who need time and access more than they need slogans. The fund would offer paid shadowing, not just internships in name. It would pair veterans with newcomers for a season at a time, not just a day on set. The announcement was not blasted on social feeds. It lived where it belonged, in an email to the people who would use it. If you are looking for the takeaway, the one lesson that should travel beyond this broadcast, here it is. Success is not a spotlight. It is a scaffold. Ebru Şahin and Akın Akınözü climbed, then turned and reached down. The awards were lovely, the applause felt good. But the thing that will last is the pattern they drew for anyone watching closely: prepare more than you post, think louder than you boast, and make room at the table for the people who hold the table up. As always, we'll keep following their journeys with our signature promise: to celebrate the work without trespassing the person. If another collaboration arrives, we'll be there. If a new series takes shape, we'll walk you through the first table read and the first day on set. And if the next time they stand side by side is again behind a microphone, we will remember that the most moving speeches are often made, not said. Thank you for watching Turkish Spotlight Secrets. If you appreciate deep dives that honor process over rumor, make sure you're subscribed, tap the bell so you never miss an update, and consider joining as a member so we can keep investing hours where the story actually happens, before the lights come up.